Well, June is going to be an interesting month. I'll tell you that. Hi, everybody. Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology Podcast. I am recording this before the monkeys vote on the bill to raise the credit card limit on the United States debt. Had to get this in the can for you to have it early. I don't even know if we'll talk about it tomorrow. You know, it's like I don't expect anything good to come out of that building anyway, so we'll just move on with our lives, and let's talk about the astrology and the chart as we begin June. Because as we begin the month, so it kind of sets the tone for the month. So let's put a chart up for midnight, June 1st, 2023. Mine's set to Asheville, North Carolina. You'll see the same kinds of things wherever you set yours up. And we'll just use this as the beginning of June, and it is the birth chart for the next 30 days. A couple of things just jump off the page to me. Well, several things. Oh, my goodness, several things. First of all, do you see the big grand cross right in the middle of the aspects? Those are the four squares, the two T-squares, however you want to call it. But who's at the party on that, squaring off? Well, Pluto, which happens to be sitting right on the ascendant, almost back in Capricorn. Pluto is square to Jupiter and the north node of the moon. It's also square to the moon and the south node of the moon in Scorpio. And wouldn't you know, but the other square is to Mars in Leo, because Mars is opposite Pluto. So there you go. There are your four corners. Pick one. Which one do you want to elaborate on? I mean, this is a conflicted month. This is going to be a tough month energetically. I mean, we have Pluto sitting at the cusp of the ascendant in the first house. So the theme of the month is transformation, death, and rebirth. Also visiting old structures, because as it moves back into Capricorn, it's going to set the progressive front of Aquarius aside for a minute to go back and look at what smells in the trash can. Interesting, too, right now, the two slowest movers in the chart are sextile each other, Neptune and Pluto. That could mean some spiritual awakening. Oh, yeah, but it also could mean that the mask, the facade, might have a really good chance of being exposed in some big major way this month. I don't know, but that's a very proper interpretation of that aspect and that position. Maybe some truth will come out that challenges the old structure in some kind of way. Now let's address the other challenge part, then we'll get to Jupiter and the moon. So the other challenging part is Mars in Leo, opposite Pluto, sitting in the 7th house as the month begins. Seeing all these reports of possible escalations in Ukraine, these drone strikes that have hit Moscow, and then the other thing would be the movement of the nuclear forces by Russia. So, look, all that stuff, I don't follow it, but I've just have seen these little snippets on Twitter primarily. I mean, look at one of Robert Glasscock's biggest concerns is Pluto's position right now related to the United States chart. And one thing that Pluto rules is nuclear. I pray to God not, but we're sitting here looking at a birth chart for this month. It has the planet that symbolizes conflict in the sign that symbolizes war. The opposite of lovey-dovey relationship is when it breaks up, opposite Pluto. I'm going to stop there. You let your own intuition feel through it. I'm blocking it, actually. I'm not trying to feel into that aspect, just reporting the data. Interesting that Venus is sitting right there at the cusp, too, in the 6th house. It's like one is tipped in, one is saying, could you just please hang on to some peace? Cancer loves peace. All Cancer wants is for everybody to get along, there to be love and harmony. It's going to be short-lived because Venus moves into Leo on the 5th. By the way, Kristen Lawhead has put together a team of readers, many of whom you've heard or know through the work that we're doing here, and they are going to examine Venus as it transits through Leo, and we'll have that video available. It's not going to be live. It's going to be recorded, but it will be available for free for you to get and access and be able to watch next week. So that's really cool. I love that this is growing within us, and we'll tell you more about it next week, but just know that that's around the corner. Maybe they'll talk about why Venus could not have recognized the incredible need to have put on a sudden and abrupt retrograde and parked it in Cancer for the next 3 months. I don't think they will get there on that one, though. But we do have a couple of things that we also need to recognize, and that is that Jupiter is now in the early degrees, 3 degrees of Taurus. And tonight at 8:43 Eastern, it conjoins the north node of the moon, which of course makes it opposite the south node. And Luna, speaking of, already conjoined the south node of the moon, making it opposite the north node. I know this is a mental piece of spaghetti, but that happened early this morning at 2 a.m. Eastern. So the big question here is, do you want to interpret this from a mundane perspective, where the moon represents the people, or do you want to take a look at this from an individual perspective? And I'm going to choose to do that. Let's let the moon represent our soul. So there's a theme of tension, but through tension comes growth. Venus and Mars are pulling against each other from 2 different, very opposite signs. That is pulling against Pluto, transformation. Jupiter is in Taurus, the money sign. Also our grounding, our firmness, our stability. And there is one other cool aspect in this chart, and that is Saturn is in a trine to the moon and the south node. So, of course, that puts it in a sextile also then to Jupiter and the north node. And remember, in the beginning, we said that Saturn was also in that sextile to Pluto. This is getting more interesting as we unfold this podcast. Wow. What do Saturn and Taurus have in common? In a good sense, rock solid stability, immovability, firmness, fixedness, that which will be still standing amidst the rubble. So for the month of June, take on the opportunity of transformation. Pluto, it's there. We might as well jump into it both feet. Get your journal out and start capturing what needs to be transformed. Be aware of Mars in that conflicted position, and just realize that you are going to neutralize and set out to neutralize conflict. Because as we look at this birth chart, Venus is in Cancer, so we have that as a benefit. The Sun is in Gemini. There are 2 ways to look at every coin, but as the conflict or the tension presents, be thinking always for the next 30 days of how fixed and solid and stable you can be. And remember, Neptune, the other slowest moving planet, is in the spiritual position of the latter degrees of Pisces and is tied into this process of transformation in a powerful and favorable way. So, this is going to be a real interesting month. I am going to keep this chart on my desktop where I record up here, and we'll refer back to it as this month unfolds. Keep this one in mind. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you back for TGI Friday tomorrow. No Saturday Merriman this week. They're on break for a conference. We'll resume that next week. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Love you. Bye-bye.